We are your hosts. I am Dr. Jonathan Matthias Lassiter.
And I'm Marquita Moten.
So, who the hell are we?
I am a business owner, master's level therapist, seeker of truth, and a whole slew of other things.
Yes, we always seeking the truth. Now, sometimes truth hurts, though, but we still keep speaking.
Yeah.
Well, I am a licensed clinical psychologist, professor, award-winning author, and trying to get this Netflix deal. So, Netflix,
hello,
whenever you're ready, me and Keita, we ready. And exactly. So just out here hustling, grinding in these streets, working on my next book and all that good stuff. So, what we talking about today?
Okay, so recently I have been focused on eating more alkaline foods, right?
Okay.
So I was doing a lot of research on it, blah, blah, blah. You know how we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across this one article that some guy had written. And it said something that I thought was so applicable to everything. And he said, don't worry about trying to get rid of bad foods. Just focus on getting the good in. And so that was a word for me. I had like a little light bulb moment. I said, focus on getting the good in. And so not only have I been doing that with my eating, but I was just thinking, that's something that we could talk about, how to get the good in times like this. And I also like it because you know how I feel about law of attraction. And when you focus your energy in the direction of what you believe to be good, that what you desire, all of that, you focus on letting that good in, then you draw more good to you. So I figured we could talk about that. What you think?
I think that's a great topic. You over here trying to get us to go all deep and stuff. No, but when I think about that, I see evidence of that in my own life. I'm like, I think I've already been doing a little bit of that. And I definitely know that's one of the ways that I got through, not over, but through.
Hello.
The other side of what? Through. Okay. But one of the ways I got through my depression related to being a Black, sane, and loving male Christian that was raised up in the church, and it wasn't necessarily about like stopping anything, but it was about just putting the good in through educating myself that like, here's what the Bible really says about homosexuality. And guess what? There are other religions and traditions beyond the Bible. So boom, mind blown. Yeah. So putting all those things that were affirming into me and those things that were confusing or that condemned me or made me feel bad about myself became less and less important.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. And it's, more of like a grand demonstration of progress. I think for me, it was a matter of taking it moment by moment, especially a couple of years ago when I first got laid off. It was hard, going from being used to having money to not having money or inconsistently having money or whatever the case may be. And there got to a point where I was like, okay, what am I going to do today?
Yeah.
What would I like to do in this very moment that would make me feel good? And so then I figured out and I would do that. So sometimes it was dancing around the house to whatever music I wanted to hear. Sometimes it was taking a walk and really looking at the sky and looking at the trees and listening to the birds and just doing that mindfulness thing that you're so big on. And that helped me get through. And even now, like, of course, we all hate this mask life. It is not in any way, shape, or form ideal. So just finding moments to get beyond that, because we do still have to live. We still have to find a way to have fun and enjoy life in spite of COVID-19. Like, it shouldn't be ruling our lives to the extent that it is for some people. And same thing with being Black in America.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's easy to know what's happening, which, as we said before, is not new to us, but the fact that it is so loud right now, it's easy to feel weighed down.
Yeah.
Because we are people of spirit. We do relate to our fallen brothers and sisters in all the ways we do.
Yeah.
Hold on, girl, they act crazy.
So we have a special guest this evening.
Who the special guest? These dogs.
The dog.
Honey. Pet sitting, you know, it has its perks because it's real easy. It's like, you know, you get paid to not really do too much, to walk around, which you should be doing every day anyway. Feeding them, you gonna eat, they gonna eat, making sure they go outside. But there are moments that it is exhausting because everybody is on their own schedule. Their pets are on their own schedule. And I am not on the same schedule as these two. So it has been trying. But once again, I'm focusing on letting the good in.
Right.
So, yeah, just, you know, it's easy to get weighed down with everything, but being sure to find as much joy as possible.
One of the ways that I've been finding joy, speaking of pets, you know, are recently, you know, my husband and I adopted, and we adopted two little ones, two kittens, and they are amazing. They are just.
Everybody thinks their kids are amazing.
They are. I mean, they are. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. Nala fell into the toilet last night because she was in there on top of the toilet, like after we had told her not to be. And then she fell in.
How did she climb up there?
She just jumped up. I guess she slipped off or missed. I don't know. We wasn't in there. All we heard was the toilet water. And then the next thing we know, there's a wet kitten scurrying out of the bathroom. And so I was like, that's what you get. We told you.
I need to have that toilet seat down anyway. Now, I'm not condoning the fact that Nala was climbing on the toilet. However, that toilet seat need to be down.
We're men. There are no women in this
house.
It
still need to be down.
But the point is, they bring joy even when they're falling into the toilet. And so that's one of the ways I've been getting some joy in. Another thing, though, that you said, though, was that I like how you were, like, real methodical. Like, you were like what will bring me joy? You were intentional about it. And I think that's so important, that sometimes people just expect joy to happen, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And we have to be intentional about it the same way we're intentional about everything else. Because guess what else is intentional? Bull mess.
Hello.
So when people are bringing you their stuff, they intentional. They want some company with their misery. And so we have to be intentional about bringing joy into our lives. And so, you know, that can look like a lot of different things, but it can also, we also have to make sure, though, that it's not double-edged joy, if that makes sense. So it's something that, like, makes you feel good in the moment, but going to have long-term negative consequences for you.
Oh, yeah. Now, we not condoning drug use. You know,
drugs, or even just like overindulging in sweets or whatever. Because I know that, you know, I ate about 5 chocolate chip cookies in one sitting. And so I tried to balance it with some carrots by eating some baby carrots. But that's not the way to go, and I know. That's
so funny. But I mean,
good in.
Yeah, you got the taste good in.
Carrots are the good though, are the nutritiously good in.
Well, you did, and you not eating 5 chocolate chip cookies every day.
Not every day.
So that's important as well. But yesterday, one of my friends asked me what are some of my favorite quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to think about it. But one that always stands out to me that relates to this discussion is from Reverend Debra Johnson. She said, pain pushes until vision pulls.
Woo.
And I really have let that marinate and resonate in my spirit ever since I met her. This was like probably 6 or 7 years ago that she told me this, but it has continued to resonate in my spirit. Pain pushes until vision pulls. And like you said, it's a choice. Are you going to focus your energy on your pain and then try to get that to propel you forward? People like to think of themselves as hustling to avoid certain things, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's more productive and more spiritually beneficial to have a hustle because you had the vision first. And you're allowing that to guide you and help you formulate exactly what it is that you're doing so that you're being intentional in that manner. That's one thing that has definitely been prominent for me in building my business. I'm very intentional about all the energy. When I'm making body butters, I'm not sad or depressed. I'm full of joy. I'm happy. I'm singing. I'm doing all these things because energetically, that is feeding into the product that I'm making with my hands. And that's important to me. So I'm allowing that vision to pull me. And I hope that people watching our show will take that into consideration as well, what vision is pulling them or is staying pushing.
Yeah, I love that because it's true. Like if you spend your life trying to avoid something, guess what your life is about? That thing you're trying to avoid. But if you spend your life moving toward your vision, then guess what your life is about? The vision.
Yeah.
So yeah, I often have patients that are like trying to not be their dad or trying to not be whoever that toxic person was in their life growing up. And inevitably they become that person.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how about we figure out who do you actually want to be? We know who you don't want to be. We know what you don't want. What do you want?
Right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how that's a really common thing. Like people don't consider what they want.
No.
It's a lot of time dedicated to the don't wants, to the cons list.
Yep.
But that's not beneficial because then you focusing all your energy on the cons and then you just continue to bring more cons into your life because that's where you're putting your focus.
Yep. 100%.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's as mental health professionals, it's like duh to us, but for so many people that's a light bulb statement. Oh, you're right. Right? Like it's a light bulb. But this we could go on and on. But I think a little birdie told me.
What they tell you?
That you was out there in them streets and you had a little conversation with a person. So what is this conversation I'm hearing about?
Are you talking about an interview?
Yeah, what is this interview?
Hold on.
Our guest star, did they do an interview as well?
They are very much haters when they see another dog outside walking. So that's what's happening now. So there's no need to interview them on what's happening with them in this moment.
Got it. Okay.
It is not bringing them joy.
Okay.
But yeah. So the interview I did was with Timothy Oliver Reid, who co-founded the Black Theater Coalition. And we had a great discussion about what he does for the community, bridging the gap between generations, and getting Black faces into different areas of theater. So it was cool.
Great. Well, let's take a look.
Okay, so today I have joining me Mr. Timothy Oliver Reid, who is a wonderful Broadway actor himself and who also helped to start the Black Theater Coalition. So we're going to talk to Tim about the great work that he's doing for the Black community. And yeah, let's just jump in. So how you doing, Tim?
I am doing all right, Marquita. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking.
You know, we have to check on each other because, you know, as I call it, in the middle of pandemia, as I like to call it, everybody's going through things in their own time and everything. And 2020 is she is showing her backside at every moment. So it truly is a day by day, moment by moment. How are we all doing and how are we making it through this week?
Yeah, that's so true. It's very important for us to keep that in mind and check on our brothers and sisters.
Yes.
We need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, we get so into our own worlds and the things that we are doing that we forget that there are those who are around us who have been using us for support or who need us for support, and we're not there right now because we are in our own bubbles, we're in our own spaces, we're trying to make it ourselves. But to be able to remember that there are people who have been used to, you know, Marquita calling every day or texting every day or Tim doing this and that, and we may not be doing that as often because of this moment and this pause that we're in. But for all of us to really be checking on each other and asking how we're doing and asking, you know, if you need anything, because this is the time I think that people really will say, well, actually I do kind of need something, right? I just needed to hear a voice today, or I needed to see a face that I haven't seen because I'm in this, you know, this muck and mire.
Yeah. And you saying that makes perfect sense as to why you founded the Black Theater Coalition, because obviously you have an innate sense of community and that's important to you. So tell me a little bit about how the founding of the Black Theater Coalition started.
Absolutely. It started, my co-founder Warren Adams and I started having conversations about 18 months ago now. I went to him because I had an initial idea, and Warren was choreographer on Motown the Musical, but also produces and writes. So, you know, we come at it as multifaceted creatives. And I talked to him about an idea of doing a performance series that would be kind of for us, by us. So black and brown bodies on stage, but also black and brown bodies who are in the orchestras and the directors, choreographers, all of the design areas and all these things. And as we were having conversations, we realized that there were certain areas that there were a few of us or none of us who were already working at the Broadway level and in lighting or in sound. And we realized that we needed to and had to add a mentorship, a fellowship component to what we were doing. And as we started doing that, we're getting more information and compiling a database of names and all. So we knew who was where and who was doing what. And then we realized it's like, this cannot be just for Broadway. It has to be for the American theater. It has to be at every regional theater in this country. It has to be in all these not-for-profits. And then it has to also be in these theater programs. So for us, it is, you know, been reaching out to the big theater programs that everybody knows about, but then also the theater programs at all of the HBCUs. So Howard, Clark, Atlanta, Spelman, Bowie State, all these places that have theater programs. We want to make sure that we are reaching out to those students as well. And that's where the big mentoring happens, so that wherever we are in the career, in the industry, whether we're just getting out of college or been working on Broadway, that we are making sure that those connections are there, so that people who need mentorship, either personally or professionally, there's always someone there. And part of what I realized in talking to so many young people who are in these college programs is they feel like they've been sort of left. They don't know what's going on, because a lot of them, especially the ones who are in the white theater programs, they feel like they're in these spaces but don't have faculty who look like them, don't have faculty who understand what they're going through and all these things. And in many ways, those of us who are already working have lost the grip or the handhold with them. So this is really about reconnecting to them, because they're going to have to do the same thing to the generation below them. And what we have to in this moment is make sure that we are all holding hands the entire journey, because that's a part of something that we have lost in the being busy of being professionals and the being busy of being stars and all this thing, that we've lost that connection to when young people first get that sparkle in their eye when you start thinking about theater or entertainment, and then when they start going to school for it, and then when they get into the work world, it's like we've lost those connections. So Black Theater Coalition is also about making sure that we are rebuilding those, so that we can rebuild and restructure this industry so that it will be equitable for more Black professionals.
I love that. And I love that you highlighted the fact that you guys have the intent to bridge the gap between generations, because that is important. That is very important in supporting the mental well-being and the spiritual well-being of those who are following us, you know? And I just love that you guys are doing that.
Thank you. It's as we started into this and building this and figuring out all the things that we were going to need to do, again, like the list kept growing, because it's like you can't fix this and leave this the way it is. So for us, it really is about, if we're going to do this, yes, we have to make sure that what people consider the pinnacle of live theater success working on in Broadway, it's like we have to start there. But it is absolutely the larger picture is us being, working with Broadway, but also working in regional theaters, working and with all of these theater programs, and then going into high school and middle school. So we really start to find and connect with young people as soon as they find that they have interest in things. And for them to know, it's like, it's not just about being on stage. It's like, yes, if you sing, act, and dance, that's great. But there are opportunities to work in marketing and in PR and in casting and general and company management. And for us, it's trying to figure out how we also bring people in who've been in other areas, who like theater, but maybe had no idea that, if they were studying law, it's like maybe entertainment law is a thing that you can do that will actually, bridge that gap for you. Or if you're a journalism major, it's like maybe you should consider being, a Black theater critic or something like that, so that you can combine your interest in theater with the thing that you've gone to school for. So for us, it really is figuring out what all of these connections are going to be, so that in 10 years, the number of Black professionals working in the American theater has increased by 500%. But we really are in about building from there, and it not being a Band-Aid fix. Because so many people be like, oh, let's just do this a little bit for right now, and then as soon as the coast is clear, or they start selling tickets again, it's like, let's just go back to what we were doing because we were comfortable there. It's like that's not that unfortunately that moment is not happening. We are moving forward. We are moving the needle now, and that old normal that you were so happy with and didn't do anything in, you need to go ahead and tell her goodbye, because she's not coming back.
Right. Jonathan and I have discussed several times the ways that things are changing with this pandemic. And I love the fact that you're really taking into account that this pandemic is an opportunity. A lot of people are looking at it as a struggle or whatever, and it may be, but in every challenge, there is an opportunity. And I love that you're focusing on that opportunity and also bringing more awareness to other Black actors, like you said, directors, screenwriters, all of them, about the opportunities that are available, and truly forming a legacy to be left for them. So
that's thank you. I mean, that is definitely the hope. And it's like, for us, like working with our sister organizations, because there are so many organizations that have come about in this moment as well. And to make sure it's like, this is not about us just being here and doing this thing and paying no attention to anybody else, but also being able to work with these sister organizations when the area of focus is something that we really handle, then it be there. But if it's something that actually this needs, it's service oriented, to send them over here to this organization. If it's something about human resources and true advocacy for a human being, we send them over here, because that's really what they're doing. But for all of us then to be able to work together and say, that's the goal line over there, that's what we're all heading for. So however we can help each other in this process, that's what we're going to do.
Right. So what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing right now as far as getting the word out and making those resources available to your target population?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of it right now is as we're building connections with with colleges and universities to continue to do that, so that it doesn't feel like anyone's being left out. So that as I'm meeting people, as we're meeting people, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, I have a connection with this college," to make sure that we're connecting, so that we are really able to start building these bonds with every young Black professional in these programs, so that as they are graduating, they realize immediately, they know already that they have some mentorship with Black Theater Coalition. So there's that, and also the just the process of getting, you know, resumes from everyone who is interested in our fellowship or our apprenticeship, so that we have that information as we start to do the selection process, so that as people who want to apprentice in lighting design, or want to apprentice in direction, or want to apprentice in casting, or any of these areas, that we are connecting with them and then offering a connection with them with these different companies, so that they're a part of the interview process. Because it's also one of the big issues is, so many times, you know, Susie Q's uncle knows somebody, so she gets the job, and we don't even hear about them. So to make sure that with the application process, that we are a part of that, and that young people know about them, and people mid-level career as well, and then are getting in the rooms, because truly with theater, it's like, it is about the connections that are made, and most of them are made outside of the work hours. It's about being able to see people and meet people and build those bonds over a lifetime of work. So like with our fellowships, you know, getting people in these offices and in these theaters to work with creatives who are at the top of their game right now, so that on the next show, when a Peter Hylinski, who's you know, a Tony Award winning sound designer, or David Corrins, who's set design, they have a young Black professional working with them on a show as an apprentice. When they can't do that next job, or one of these next jobs that they have lined up over the next 3 or 4 years, and someone's like, who should we bring in for that? Oh, you should bring in Marquita. Oh yeah, Marquita worked with David on this show. I remember her. We loved her. Yeah, absolutely. Let's offer her that job. So we want to make sure that we are in those rooms, so that we are making the connections, just like people have for generations, and we've been left out of that mix.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I love it. So let's say that someone wanted to become a mentor with your organization. How would they go about doing that?
There are two ways. One, if they want to become a mentor, they can send an email to partnership@blacktheatercoalition.org, and that's the old spelling of theater, the THEATRE coalition.org. If you are someone who wants to be a part of the pool of professionals that will be selected for the apprenticeships and the fellowships, then you send your resume to submissions@blacktheatercoalition.org.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. I hope you guys caught that information, because you're gonna need it. So I know you do like a morning inspiration on Instagram.
Yes.
So what is one thing you think is important for people to remind themselves of every day?
This is an easy one. It's like one. I love it. I love a short scripture, because you can get in and out, and people don't have to think too much about it. So it's just that. But something that mentor to me, Tony Award winner Andre the Shield has said, and I remind myself of this every day, is that the universe is conspiring with you. And whether you say God or universe, to know that God is working with you at every turn, that the universe is conspiring with you to accomplish the things you want to accomplish, because it's already been written down. All you have to do is do your part, and know that if you continue to do your part, the universe is absolutely working in your favor. And that, I think, people have to remember, especially again when we're in these moments where everything feels like when everything in this world looks like it's working against us. Like this is just a blip. This is just a moment, so that we can remember this and say, we don't want to be in this place again. Let's keep moving forward.
Right. I love that you are absolutely speaking my language. I mean, really, I'm all about bridging the spirit and the physical realm, because to me there is no gap. And I absolutely am 100% certain that what you said is true. And I love that that is a word that you want people to keep in mind. And also, even moments like this, there's an opportunity in everything. You know, there's a lot of opportunity for more awareness. Things are being revealed.
Yes.
Cracks in the pavement are being revealed, and that's valuable. So that even gives us work to do going forward, even when the pandemic is over, whenever that is.
It's soon.
Yes, yeah. So
Right.
I love that. I think that is a perfect word.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in that moment that I feel like we've been so busy doing so many things.
Yeah.
That God, the universe, had to say to everybody, whoa, I need you paying attention now. And the only way you're going to pay attention is if you are sitting still. Because you think 2 years ago, we would have seen that, a Black man had been shot in Kenosha, and we'd be like, oh, but I got to go to work. Oh, that's so sad, but I got to go to work. Or, oh, this young woman was shot here in her own home. Oh, but I got to go to work. I have stuff to do. And in this moment, we have nothing to do but to hear it, and then to hear it again, and then to hear it again, and then we have to think to ourselves, what are we doing, and how are we going to be a part of fixing this?
Exactly.
Because we got nothing else to do in this moment except think about that and figure out what we want our next steps to be. And either we can continue on the path that we've been on, or we can start looking at how we're going to rebuild and restructure a lot of things. And there's a lot in this country alone that we have to look at the way we want to restructure and rebuild.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Tim. I appreciate your words of wisdom. I appreciate the work that you're doing to assist those who are coming behind you. That's definitely something that we all should keep in mind. And tell everybody how they can contact you, your Instagram, your Facebook.
All right.
All that good stuff.
So for me, the person you can on Facebook is Timothy Oliver Reid, and I do my Facebook Live Mondays, Wednesdays, Friday morning, and Sunday morning for church.
Okay.
And also on Instagram at T Oliver Reid on Instagram, and if you can follow Black Theater Coalition at Black Theater Coalition on Instagram as well.
All right. Well, there you have it, everybody. Mr. Timothy Oliver Reid, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Somebody told me you was Barbara Walters.
Clearly not. She is far less melanated than
You on that level. You on that level though. No, but that was amazing. I learned so much from that interview. How was it for you doing that?
It was really good. I enjoyed talking to him, as a former high school thespian myself, What I really appreciated about the conversation was how one of their primary focuses was educating Black college students on how, regardless of their major, they could still do something in the theater realm if that's something they wanted to do. And I remember we talked about having journalism majors consider being film critics or theater critics and stuff like that. So I like the fact that he was giving them, or that the Black Theater Coalition is giving up and coming generations new ideas on how to think about what their roles could be. So
I love it. I love it. That's what it's all about. Reaching back to the up and coming generations, helping them be whole in their Blackness and their creativity and their godness. So that's great. So let's do a replay. So what do you want to leave the people with?
I think we'll just leave them with, the consideration to shift their focus in a direction where what they desire is pulling them rather than being pushed by something painful.
Yeah. And I think the only thing that I would add to that is being intentional in getting the good in. So being intentional and not waiting for joy to come to you, but cultivate your life, structure your life in a way where you are bringing the joy to you in an intentional way.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, that's our show for this week. And be sure to like, subscribe, share with your mama and them. Follow us, all of and cousins too.
Yeah.
Follow us on our social medias. And we will see you next time.
All right.
All right. Love you, Kia.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.